and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom, and this is one of those videos where I'm filming during the day, which is my normal clothing. Hair is in braid. My kid's sick, my husband's sick, so the hair is simple. And yes, normally I have it in braids because it's long and needs out of the way. And my kid is at grandma's, so this is actually being filmed about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So let's get on to the review today. So this is Funny Girl. This is a musical from I think it was 69. Going back to the IMDb page here. 68. Okay, so as you can see, this is Streisand. Barbra Streisand. If you're not aware of her, she has various claims to fame from, she's very Jewish. She does did a lot of music, was in a lot of musicals, was on a lot of Broadway, and has a really, really big ego. So let's move on to this, and we'll talk about Streisand's ego. This was really well shot. I did kind of enjoy it, at least for the spectacle. And Streisand, I mean, yeah, she has a big ego, but she also has a really good singing voice and is halfway decent in acting, or at least particularly in musicals. And then I think she did the Fockers. So Meet the Fockers, that's... Yes, I've seen it. Yes, it's stupid. No, she does not sing. I don't know if she's still singing. But moving on. The point of this is a loosely based musical. She did this originally on Broadway. This was her Broadway hit. And this film itself made her, got her an Oscar. And this was her first film. But it's a very fictionalized retelling of the life of a singer and entertainer by the name of Fanny Brice, and her kind of personal life with her husband. It's loosely based. When I looked on this, I'm like, yep, no, really, really loosely based. It starts off with her being poor and trying to break into the business, and eventually breaking into the business, meeting this guy Nick, who's a professional gambler. I think he's Egyptian. It may just be the actor's Egyptian. Sorry. Yes, I'm sick too. So that's the reason my voice sounds scratchy. So, moving on. And basically she starts her career and she becomes a Ziegfeld girl, and she's very comedic, and then she runs away, leaves Ziegfeld to run away to be with Nick, and they get married, and she has her career, and then his gambling goes downhill, and she's still in love with him. She's kind of blinded to everything, and her mother eventually says, like, he's in debt to everybody. And he's mad because she's trying to help him then, and then he goes to jail for embezzlement. And she basically he leaves her, and she goes on strings, and it's like, I'm still in love with him. And that's kind of partly why I don't like the storyline of this. It's, you married a gambler, you married a gambler, he's Schwab, and you're kind of you hide yourself from his faults. And I do not like this storyline. It annoys me. So, why this has a lot of great songs and is really beautifully shot, there's a lot of great dance numbers, I love the colors. It's fantastic for that. I do not like the story. And I have issues with Streisand because she has a huge ego. And you look at the IMDb page, and yeah, she was controlling this film like crazy. And she had scenes cut from other actors, and she just pissed everybody off because she was a major drama queen. Is it surprising to people in 2023 that Barbra Streisand is a drama queen and has a big ego? No. If you're unaware of this, this is the woman who got pissed off at the National Geological Survey, thinking they were spying on her, taking pictures of her house that was situated on a cliff up against the Pacific Ocean. It's like, no, they're the National Geological Survey. They're geologists. They're interested in the erosion of the cliff your house is sitting on. They do not care that you live there. They want to know if it's going to fall into the ocean. And once you try to sue them, they probably don't care that if your house falls into the ocean, whether you're in it or not. But yes, Streisand has an ego, a massive, massive ego, possibly rivaling. Now, Oprah has a bigger ego. Okay, back to this in my rantings. She won an Oscar for this. It was 68, or I think it was probably 69 Oscars. Sorry, again, sick. But it's a halfway decent film. If you're looking at Hollywood musicals, this is really good. I mean, she and I believe the actor who plays opposite her did this on Broadway, and this made her a star. This was her star-winning performance. And yes, Barbra Streisand is very, very interesting, particularly in Hollywood. Though, again, this came out in the 60s, so we're moving away from 1950s Hollywood, even though she has a saying where she came to Hollywood and didn't change her name or change her nose. Again, she was getting into the 60s. She was getting into Hollywood in the 70s. So, yeah, the things that we experience with, say, people like, is my brain going blank? Judy Garland. I have the Harvey Girls sitting here. It's on my list to review. I haven't watched it yet. But people like Judy Garland or the others of the old Hollywood era who would basically sign on to a studio where the studios were very much in control was pretty much done by now. So her comment there is like, yeah, this wasn't really being done that much anymore. That was old Hollywood. She was coming in later. Her career was mostly, oddly enough, near the end of the musical eras. The last major big Hollywood musical like this was The Sound of Music, which, yes, I've covered already. I think you guys, it should be available by now if The Sound of Music came out a week ago for you guys. So, but yeah, The Sound of Music was the last one of these. That was one of these big spectacles because the genre just changed and people had different interests. But again, this brought Streisand really into the musical sphere. And again, I don't know that much about her besides this. I'm aware of Yentl, which she fought really hard to do, and the Fockers. I know she's done other stuff. I think she was on Fiddler on the Roof, which is something I'm aware of. But that's the extent of what I know her for, besides the fact that she was a really big singer. And again, my guess is, my familiarity with Broadway is very small. Again, I'm on the West Coast here. So it's not something I'm familiar with. And I'm guessing that's where she was doing most of her career, was Broadway, because Broadway musicals is what she does. So, interesting. I'm not particularly fond of the story. It's rated G. There's nothing major. Again, it came out in 1969, and it's a big budget Hollywood musical. It's dancing and singing. There's nothing outwardly besides the fact that he's a gambler, and I think there's some smoking, maybe, going on here. But again, it's the 60s. It's the end of the 60s. So, otherwise, I mean, again, it has its minus. If you can get away from the basic storyline of her standing by her man and being obsessed with a guy who's not fantastic, and the looming massive ego of Barbra Streisand, it's a good film. I mean, if you're looking at Hollywood films, Broadway musicals that were brought to life on film, this is good to look at. If you're looking at Streisand, again, she's an interesting figure, very Jewish, very obviously Jewish, just very, very plays up her Jewishness in the films and in most of what she does. And yes, it's evident here as well. So, if you're looking for Jewish stars, this is great. Pretty much all ages. There's nothing in here it's a Hollywood musical. It's a bunch of singing. Small children would be interested in the dancing and the coloring and the singing. and the color and the singing. In the end, I love the costumes. Absolutely love the costumes. I'm kind of interested in historical fashion, so absolutely love the costumes in this. So, and again, she has a great singing voice. I mean, she got famous for a reason. She may have a giant ego, but she got famous for a reason. So that's really the end of this view. This is I'll tell you how long it is. How long is this? It's about, okay, it's long. Scratch that for the little kids. It's 2.5 hours long. This is, again, I should have known that. This is the big Hollywood musicals that were designed like Broadway musicals. So there's intermission. So similar to The Sound of Music, where they still had that intermission there. So yeah, this is really, really long. It's 2.5 hours long. So yeah, if you can sit through that, or again, there is an intermission where you can pause it and then do something else and then come back to it. I mean, I remember my Sound of Music VHS tapes were two tapes. I have the DVD now. It's not in here. I own it. Like Mary Poppins, those are the ones I own. This is a library copy. So again, that's the end of this review. If you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. I am covering musicals this month. I'm covering children's musical books. We're moving into some other stuff. Book series I've covered The Princess Diaries. I covered Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Those are the big ones. There's a couple in between. I'm going to be working on another Meg Cabot series coming up, if not right now. I haven't read it yet. I need to get to that. What are you bouncing off, Chris, when it comes to Funny Girl? That's going to be coming up. The Alley Fingal's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm finishing up the Guardians of Ga'Hoole as you guys watch this. So, and then we're going back to the Meg Cabot, which is I have a more late elementary tween series, followed by some more Catherine Lasky. Then we're moving into some other stuff. I'm covering the graphic novels of the Animorphs because I can't find the books. Then we're going to go in depth with the Anne of Green Gables series and the TV shows and the films. Then I'm moving to the Boxcar Children. I think it's the Wings of Fire series, fantasy series. That's as far as I've gotten series-wise for next year. So, and then I'm again with Boxcar Children. I actually did found there were going to be mystery stuffs going up against that. So, check out what I've got. I have a lot of stuff on offer. I'm very, very punctual. My books come out Monday. My films come out Fridays. Anything else I have, I throw in on Wednesdays, and that's iffy. So, like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you have one.